This right here, in my opinion, is the perfect representation of unhealthy people weighing our entire system down. Hey, someone has to pay for those healthcare costs, as of course the bill usually gets passed down to you, as there have been now new revelations about the important work that Charlie Kirk was doing behind the scenes, trying to get people healthy and off of a forced, mandated product by the state that gave them no liability for it at all. This was, of course, during the COOF years, as Bret Weinstein just dropped one of the biggest bombshells regarding health and personal well-being on the Joe Rogan podcast, specifically talking about the work that he was doing behind the scenes, making sure that people were stopped being provided a service that, according to some studies, has led to tremendous amounts of human suffering, heart inflammation, and other very serious ailments that a lot of people report. As of course, our reporting system is kind of crappy, to say the least here. But I thought what Bret Weinstein had to say here, specifically about what was happening behind the scenes, really is important, as there's still a lot more to this fight that needs to be done, needs to be addressed. And it's one of those issues that, of course, this platform really doesn't like us talking about, but I think it is worth talking about, specifically when it comes to all of our reporting on it from day one that has got us in hot water, as, of course, the MAGA Alliance still is achieving a lot of great things, but overall, it's now missing its major component that was, as we're now finding out, the driving force of it, and that, of course, was Charlie Kirk. If you appreciate these types of videos, subscribe. We definitely appreciate all the time you spend with us, as, of course, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you guys actively subscribing, so thank you so much for doing that. Now, let's just get into it, because this Rogan Bret Weinstein interview really delved into the weeds about a lot of the stuff that has been happening, that has been ongoing, that a lot of people are asking some very serious questions about. And a lot of people are afraid to, one, because of the bill chill, two, because Big Pharma has a lot of money. They sue a lot of people. They go after a lot of people. And there are a lot of predatory things about this industry that a lot of people are just afraid to talk about. I mean, us even talking about it here on this particular platform is already like making me feel uncomfortable. As you can see, I'm not as like loose and as fresh, because I'm like, okay, I got to be careful not to say the specific things, or else the AI literally picks it up and they're like, oh yeah, we're going to make sure this is a bad channel. Anyway, when Bret Weinstein was on the Joe Rogan, he called the forced type of procedure on us during the COOF years, quote, clear fraud. As Jim Ferguson writes, in one of the most explosive exchanges yet on the Joe Rogan Experience, evolutionary biologist Bret Weinstein laid bare what he calls the greatest medical scam in modern history. Weinstein didn't hold back, talking about the COOF shots that were taken off the market. That was, quote, an easy decision because they, quote, should be embarrassed, horrified by the harm that they caused. That was the bombshell. The product was, quote, actually injected into billions of people, involved DNA plasmids, and there is massive contamination in the shots, including the SV40 promoter, a known carcinogenic element. As of course, there are now a lot of shocking things coming out, highlighting how, yeah, the rates of cancer up through the roof dramatically, and people are kind of left wondering what in the world happened here. Now, I think it's a combination. I know it's always easy to say it's exactly this. Well, let's be real with ourselves. We don't have the kind of evidence, because a lot of the kind of research now is actually for the first time being really done. But there's also a component to stress that I think a lot of people need to understand as well, as when your body goes through tremendous amounts of stress, it also leads it to be ill as well. And I would say that during the lockdowns, during the kind of very stressful situations where people just saw Chinamen falling over, the type of division, the type of anger, the type of fighting that was happening internally created a tremendous amounts of stress. That would play, in my opinion, a component into the rise of these specific illnesses and sicknesses that we're now seeing. Now, with this kind of human guinea pig experiment that was done on everyone and forced on a lot of people if they wanted to just live. You wanted to visit the United States? You got to get it. You better get it unless you can't enter. Oh, you want to walk across the southern border? You want to walk into Pedro, come in. Sí, señor dueño. Yo necesito. No, you don't need to. You don't need that. You don't need it at all. Come on in. Oh, you're going through the legal process. Yeah, you got. Oh, you're flying in through an airport. Oh. Get down on your knees, piggy. We're injecting you. No, I'm gonna play the video specifically with Weinstein and his big bombshell about Charlie Kirk, because he's actually showing the receipts and text messages here. Just before I do, just really quickly, I wanted to remind you about We Are Change.shop. We got a lot of great supplements. I'm traveling, so of course I bring my supplements on the road with me. Look at that. I got all of them here for the next few days that I'm going to be here. This is not that easy to travel with, as of course this is our creatine. We have one of the best creatines on the market. Lots of people sell fake creatine out there. Lots of people sell it from China. It's contaminated. It's not pure. Lots of products don't have it. Unless they say it's from Pure from Germany, they're lying to you. And if they don't say that outright, if they're not bragging like, hey, we have the best one from Germany, Pure, if they're saying it's just the best from where? Where's the best from? I've been looking at people advertising these like products, and they're clearly from China, and they're clearly like untested, unproven, right? And I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Like, listen, I stake my reputation on what I do. I've been in this business for 20 years. The reputation is the only thing you have. And it's worth more than anything else that people could imagine. I stake my reputation on these products. I take these products. I like these products, and I want to make sure these are the best products. Our creatine, 2-month supply, the best product out there. We got a lot of other great stuff. I know I'm taking my vitamin C. I'm taking my fish oils. I'm taking my magnesium glycinate. I'm taking my vitamin D, because this is the time where everyone's getting sick. I was looking at a mainstream media newspaper. Those still exist, and they're like, cold flu season's devastating. It's horrible. And it's like, well, people aren't really taking care of themselves. Plus, we had a fourth and fifth form of generational warfare, along with a biological form of warfare that was induced onto us without our compliance. Right? All done to track, trace, database, control, subjugate, and try to enslave all of humanity. That's what happened during the coup years. It was an experiment for global domination that they're going to do again unless they get held accountable for it. Now, one of the main voices that was holding them accountable for it and working behind the scenes, stopping a lot of their nonsense, was Charlie Kirk. He's not here anymore. And that, to me, is absolutely sad. And Charlie Kirk was obsessed about his health. The little that I knew about him when I saw him, when I was hanging out with him, I mean, we were talking about, also IV treatments. We did very similar IV treatments. And he had his very own specific health protocol that he was very serious about. And health is wealth, Anyway, they said, Bret Weinstein said, for you to put one product through safety testing and then inject people with something different, that's fraud. And that's exactly what happened here, right? That's what a lot of these big pharma companies did. And again, why wouldn't they? Trump gave them, with Operation Warp Speed, no liability at all. Do whatever you want, guys. No liability. They're like, okay, we got this one specific topic, trials. This person got sick. Let's edit them out. They weren't here. Don't worry. And then they created a whole new product, and they're like, this is a brand new product for the general public. But look at these safety studies. And I'm like, these safety studies are for a totally different product. They're like, shut up, conspiracy theorists. No, I will not. And again, we could get into the weeds here, specifically when it comes to gene-specific biological forms of warfare, as the U.S. government now is still collecting. They just started to collect DNA, right? It's absolutely insane. As Bret Weinstein just dropped a major bombshell saying that there's still a lot of these things out there. Now, here's what he had to say.
It's a very positive sign, but you and I know that the vaccine story has been breaking because I think in large measure so many people, virtually everybody knows somebody who was injured.
Or people who had long coof, right? A lot of people that I'm like, oh, I have long coof. I'm like, how many did you take? I took all of them, yeah, and more. Oh, yeah. I followed the science. I'm like, do you think that might be correlated? No, the government wouldn't lie to me. Yeah, sure they wouldn't.
So it's very hard to keep people in the dark about that, and people's acceptance of the boosters has plummeted. People do need to understand that there's a huge number of mRNA shots that are being cooked up at this very minute, that the damage is not from the COVID part of the shot, it's from the platform itself. And so we need to stop that vast array of mRNA shots from ever making it to the market, and we need to get the COVID shots pulled,
Now, granted, this administration is doing a lot of important stuff with RFK Jr. They just got rid of mercury and other kind of like preservatives in there that didn't need to be in there. They just got rid of the hepatitis B shot for babies, which didn't need to be there. They didn't need to have.
Again, another thing I want to get back to is Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk and I were working together trying to get the shots pulled. He had the president's ear. I was helping to inform him about what's really going on with the mRNA platform. And anyway, we were making great progress. He sent me a text at one point. I had congratulated him on, I think, the shots having been pulled for no longer being recommended for kids and pregnant women. And he said something, I think it was, we're doing holy work together. And it meant a lot. I'm obviously not a religious person, but it meant a lot.
Why? Because when you go to these TPUSA events, you find people that were injured, that believed and trusted the science, trusted Fauci, trusted Trump and Biden in some ways too. And they're like, yeah, whatever. I'm in the military. They're making me take it. Now, Trump actually did back pay. So give credit where credit's due. But the things are still out there and available for some strange reason. And this is why this video is so important. And this is why the work that Bret and Charlie were doing and Bret is continuing to do are so important and needs to be expanded.
For me to hear that from him. And I do think among the many tragedies that are the result of his terrible death is the fact that it slowed progress on getting these shots removed from the market.
Yeah, absolutely. As again, this is the CDC website now. Oh, you got to stay up to date. You do? For what? As, of course, a lot of people believe, and I believe in this theory as well, that coof wouldn't be as long as it has been if it wasn't for these immune interventions that created mutations that spurred on and were leaky procedures, leaky in a way where the natural virus just in itself just was able to, of course, use that to develop and grow, that it wouldn't have if it was just for natural immunity. And I believe in that. So far, listen, I don't know why we're still doing this. Who's allowing this? All right. As CDC still recommends this for people ages 6 months and older. What? Based on individual decision making? I mean, I guess, but like, why do you got to say recommends? And then you still come out and say, oh, it helps severe illness and hospitalization and death. What? Excuse me? What the frick are you doing? And then, of course, Bret got some pushback. He then decided to release the text message saying, I'm getting pushback on the claim I made on Joe Rogan about my work with Charlie Kirk as if I made it up. The haters and trolls are going to do what they do, but as always, I'm not lying. Here's a text message with Charlie saying, we made great progress getting the ish removed for kids and pregnant women. Now it's time to get them removed totally from the market. And of course, absolutely. And congratulations, Charlie. Most of the kids and moms will never know, but you and I do. Let me know how I can help with the last step. We are doing holy work together. Yeah, I mean, this is, I think, one of the biggest losses for the independent movement, the right-wing movement. If you look at the taking out of Charlie, which is like surreal, right? A lot of people still have a hard time dealing with it. As of course, I'm here at the TPUSA event where that's his event, that's his thing. It's almost as if it's like perfectly orchestrated and coordinated in a way to self-destroy right-wing populism, right? As of course, he did a lot of important things behind the scenes. RFK Jr. came out and he says he owes his unification with President Trump, Maha and MAGA coming together, to Charlie. I mean, that's what he said. Charlie, as we're finding out, brought together Maha and MAGA. One of the most important, consequential political alliances ever that allowed Donald Trump to become the president of the United States. Is he actually going to say anything? I don't know why Nick sort of posted that video. I was like, maybe he said something here. He didn't. But it's moments like this, right, that really have you kind of understanding how we can't fall short now. We can't just say, all right, yeah, Charlie's gone, whatever, go back. No, we got to keep up the mantle. We got to get this story out there. We got to keep talking about this story because unless we do, no one else will, right? There's a lot of deep state swamp elements within this Trump administration. And even though I disagreed with some of the things Charlie had expressed before, he was the one saying, don't bomb Iran, release the Epstein list. Hey, let's stop with these procedures. It's all insane nonsense. That nonsense is still continuing, right? And I think it only is going to continue with his absence. But people don't understand, like, there still is a potential here, especially with health, right? Because our healthcare costs through the roof now. What are we paying for? Who are we paying for? Why are we so unhealthy? Why are we so unfit? Why are we looking around? And that's because there is a eugenics, soft kill, weapons operation being utilized against unsuspecting American citizens that are victims of a eugenics operation. Right? That's clear as day. I didn't say it as articulately as I wanted to say it, but it's pretty clear as day. If you're not kind of paying attention and following to exactly what's kind of going on here, you are, especially if you're not hyper paranoid of everything you're consuming and putting in your mouth hole, you're falling victim. And there's so many victims out there. And a lot of people are like, it's self-choice. Well, no. Our choices are being limited more and more to seed oil, high fructose corn syrup, genetically engineered fake food slop with no actual types of vitamins and minerals. And again, that's one of the reasons I was like, listen, I got to put my money where my mouth is. I want reputable, good stuff. That's why I created wearechange.shop. I was like, I don't want to, who else am I going to trust? Get these gummies. I'm like, I don't want gummies. Why do you want sugar? And I'm like, okay, people want gummies. Let me look into the gummies of creatine. And then I'm like, all of them are filled with crap. I don't want to sell crap. I don't want that to be my reputation. I don't want to lead and add to this type of disastrous type of obesity crisis that's happening in this country. As of course, it's pretty crazy. It's pretty sad. And we should take this moment now to wake up and realize we have a little bit of a chance to actually deal with it. We should. Nicole Shanahan said this. Charlie tweeted this a while ago, obviously, in 2024, and I think it's worth thinking about.
You know, there's two options that we're looking at, and One is staying in, forming that new party, but we run the risk of a Kamala Harris and Waltz presidency because we draw votes from Trump, or we draw somehow more votes from Trump, or we walk away right now and join forces with Donald Trump, and you know, we walk away from that and we explain to our base why we're making this decision.
I'm happy they decided to do what they do. The fight is still ongoing, and get this out there. This product shouldn't be out there, in my own personal opinion, and it can only come after more public attention and scrutiny. Thank you so much for supporting me through wearechange.shop. I want to be here for you guys watching, supporting, buying the supplements, taking care of your health, being aware of the psychological fourth, fifth form of eugenics operation with soft skill weapons that are used against you. And this is why I love you guys. Stay tuned for more here on youtube.com/wearechange.